From being richer than Bill Gates to facing a staggering $70 billion loss, and eventually making a comeback with a $20 million investment, which turned into $150 billion. Masayoshi Son is the epitome of audacity and resilience. Masayoshi Son was born in August 1957 in Tosu on the island of Kyushu, Japan. Being born to Korean immigrants, Son is a second-generation Zainichi Korean, ethnic Koreans who moved to Japan permanently. Son's father began raising pigs and chickens on the same land while running an illegal sake brewing business. Although his business was illegal, it turned out to be successful for Son's family, allowing them to become the first ones to buy a car in the neighborhood. As soon as the Son's financial conditions improved, they moved out of the Korean community and settled in a traditional Japanese area. However, this marked the beginning of worries and stress for the young Son, forced to switch his surname by government policy to one deemed more appropriate, Yasumoto, a Japanese name.
Some period, Japanese government forced every Korean to change to Japanese name. So it was not their intention. We had to.
You had to change.
Okay. Had to change.
Son faced bullying for being a Korean. The inferiority complex made Son feel different and distant from everyone, creating a sense of loneliness. In an interview, Son recalled, "When I was in elementary and junior high schools, I was in agony over my identity, so much that I was seriously contemplating taking my own life. I'd say discrimination against people is that tough." Fortunately for Son, he found his inspiration and role model in Den Fujita, founder of McDonald's Japan. Witnessing the success of Fujita, Son thought about taking career counseling from Fujita, considering it beneficial for his future. Son attempted to meet Fujita more than a few times, but he was turned down. Despite this, Son didn't give up and stayed consistent with his attempts to meet Fujita. Following several attempts, ultimately, Son was given 15 minutes with Fujita, which would change the course of Son's life forever. Son asked Fujita, "What business should I do?" Fujita replied, "Computers. Don't look at the past industries, look at the future." This meetup worked as a motivation for Son to pursue his studies in a foreign country. Son told his parents about his desire to move to the United States and study further. Supporting their son's dreams and determination, Son's parents sent him to California. Proving the genius that he was, Son ultimately graduated from his high school in just 3 weeks before enrolling in the University of California, where he majored in economics and computer science. While studying, Son's fiercely independent nature drove him to seek a side hustle that would earn him $10,000 a month, with just 5 minutes of work a day. When he asked his friends about such jobs, they called him crazy.
But I said, 5 minutes I would allow other than study. I have to make money. I want to earn $10,000 per month. So I asked my friends, isn't there a good job that I can earn $10,000 in 5 minutes a day? But my friend said, "You're crazy, it's impossible."
But Son was determined to improve his life and secure his future. After spending a great deal of time thinking about what he should do, Son came up with an idea, an invention. He penned down 250 concepts in his notebook before settling upon inventing an electronic dictionary. With the help and support of his professors, Son was able to make the world's first electronic dictionary. At the young age of 20, Son sold this patent to Sharp Corporation for $1.7 million. And he did not stop there. He imported used working video game machines from Japan, installed them in dorms and restaurants, and earned $1.5 million. Within 18 months, Son made $3.2 million, which was a lot better than $10,000 a month. Son even told his then-girlfriend, who was Japanese as well, to stop receiving money from her parents. Son would earn enough to support both of them. After graduating from university, Son fulfilled his parents' wishes and returned to Japan. Being the visionary that he was, he sought to find a business idea that he could commit to for the next 50 years. Remembering what Den Fujita has told him, Son fixed on launching his personal computer software business. And this was the start of the legendary company as we know today, SoftBank or Software Bank. The business was simple. He started off as a broker between hardware suppliers and small software creators. Right from the beginning, Son's business was hit with a major setback when he decided to spend 80% of his first US $65,000 startup capital to rent the largest booth at the largest computer event during the time. His aim was to showcase local software companies' products for free in hopes of signing them up for a distributorship with SoftBank. While many gathered at his booth and liked the products, they ended up dealing with the suppliers directly and cut Son out of the entire process. Son made only 300,000 yen, incurring a huge loss. Son's own industry insiders began mocking him and laughed at him for his poor decision-making. The people who liked him said, "That guy's really dumb. He's a nice guy, but dumb." Son did not lose confidence. In fact, he stood in front of his 2 part-time employees and declared, "I am the CEO. You must listen to me. We will do hundreds of millions of dollars in sales and sign up to 1,000 dealerships in 5 years." As anyone would, Son's 2 employees immediately thought their boss was crazy and quit the next day. However, it wasn't long before his life changed dramatically. One of Japan's biggest electronics retailers, Joshin Denki, reached out to Son. During a meeting between Joshin Denki and Son, they showered him with questions like, "How much capital do you have? How old are you? What kind of business experience do you have?" Son, who was half the age of the manager from Joshin Denki, stood his ground. In a poised display of Son's negotiation prowess, he calmly conveyed to them that, despite lacking experience, he was committed to dedicating his full attention to the software industry. He foresaw that this dedication would ultimately propel him to become a dominant force in the realm of software, and it would be a mistake not to work with him. Dominant force indeed. Son won him his first big contract with Joshin Denki, and quickly grew revenues to $12.8 million in a year. Throughout the 1980s, SoftBank witnessed massive growth, becoming Japan's top software distributor and publisher of technology magazines. Son was selling software, magazines, systems, and even pioneered a low-cost telephone system. Within 11 years, he generated $350 million in annual sales, exceeding the target he set out to reach. In 1994, Son took SoftBank public, valued at $3 billion, making Son 37 years old at that time a billionaire. He used the proceeds from the IPO to acquire Ziff Davis for $2.1 billion, the largest purchase of a technology magazine company. However, fate took a turn. While Son was doing well in his professional life, he faced serious health challenges. Diagnosed with chronic hepatitis, he was hospitalized and teetered on the brink of death. Son experienced experimental treatments for his hepatitis and remained under medical care for almost 4 years. Despite his situation, he maintained contact with SoftBank, offering advice via phone and fax. Following his recovery, Son began his journey in investing in technology startups. Through his connections at Ziff Davis, he was introduced to meet 2 young Stanford engineers, Jerry Yang and David Philo. Over a casual pizza meal, Son made a pivotal decision to invest $2 million in the fledgling company Yahoo, which had just 7 employees. At the time, the internet was not widely recognized as a tool for the masses, but Son trusted his instincts and doubled down on his investment. The following year, he injected an additional $105 million, and the year after that, $250 million, solidifying his position as the largest outside shareholder in Yahoo. These investments proved to be incredibly lucrative, growing to a staggering $8.6 billion at their peak. This success further solidified Son's wealth and influence. Son continued to invest in big technology companies throughout the 1990s. He built up stakes in over 800 startups, including E-Trade, ZDNet, Webvan, and GeoCities. Son ultimately became the richest man in the world with a net worth of $70 billion, exceeding Bill Gates. However, everything came crashing down when the dot-com bubble burst, dragging SoftBank down with it. After a brief moment as the wealthiest individual on the planet, SoftBank's value plummeted by 99%. Son's personal net worth took a staggering $70 billion hit, marking the largest financial loss in the history of mankind. Fortunately for Son, right at the peak of the bubble in 2000, he invested $20 million in Jack Ma's Alibaba, a B2B trading platform from China. When Alibaba went public 14 years later, Son's SoftBank stake skyrocketed from $20 million to $60 billion. By 2020, this stake had surged to $150 billion, an increase of 7,500 times. This deal firmly established Son as one of the greatest investors of all time. In the meantime, Son foresaw the inevitable shift to mobile internet technology worldwide. To achieve his goals, he needed to secure a license for mobile spectrum. However, the Japanese government repeatedly denied his requests, claiming there was no available spectrum. In response, Son boldly sued the government for failing to consider his requests. Eventually, he won his case and gained access to newly issued frequencies in 2005. Yet, simply gaining access to spectrum wasn't enough for SoftBank to stand out. Son knew he needed to make a bold move. He set his sights on acquiring a telecommunications company, Vodafone, which had struggled to prove its worth over the years. At the time, Vodafone was valued at $20 billion, while SoftBank had only $2 billion in funds. Through a series of strategic maneuvers, Son eventually managed to raise enough funds to acquire the entirety of Vodafone Japan, subsequently transforming it into SoftBank Mobile. He then rang up Steve Jobs and told Steve Jobs his idea of creating and selling an iPod with internet capabilities. Crazy Son even brought his own drawing to Steve Jobs, which resulted in Steve Jobs asking him to keep his drawing. But his guts paid off when SoftBank was awarded the exclusive selling rights to sell the new iPhone in Japan. Following these successful partnerships with Apple, Son dreamt bigger. Back in 2016, only when a small handful recognized the potential for artificial intelligence, Son made his next big bet. He bought chip designer ARM Holdings for $32 billion, making it the largest purchase of a technology company in Europe's history.
You did the biggest investment you've ever made in a company called ARM.
They have 99% market share for any smartphone that you have in your pocket. I think the company is going to be more valuable than Google.
Sensing the increasing rise of artificial intelligence, which could lead to singularity, a term which experts coined for the moment where artificial intelligence became smarter than humans, Son made his next bold move. He envisioned creating the world's largest venture capital fund, a $100 billion initiative named the Vision Fund, which would serve as a formidable war chest for investing in AI startups globally. Finding a kindred visionary spirit in Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, Son secured a monumental investment. In just 45 minutes, he raised $45 billion in funding. When questioned about the haste in raising such a substantial sum, Son simply replied, "Life is too short to think small." Son put $45 billion alongside his own funds and money from Abu Dhabi and companies like Apple and Foxconn in the Vision Fund to fulfill his goal of raising $100 billion. SoftBank launched the Vision Fund in 2017, which was entirely focused on investing in technologies like AI, robotics, and the internet. However, Son ended up investing in real estate, transportation, and retail companies too, including WeWork, Uber, Oyo, Didi, and Wag, aside from investing in robotics companies. Turning away from the initial cause of Vision Fund proved less lucrative for SoftBank and Son. Even SoftBank employees questioned the move. By 2017, some of the fund's investments encountered difficulties, resulting in layoffs and a decline in investor confidence. The largest loss came when Son had to write down the entire $16 billion investment made in WeWork. Many criticized Son for his reckless investments, branding him as a gambler who treated the economy as a casino. While it may have seemed like Son and SoftBank were on the brink of collapse, in typical Son fashion, he unveiled a hidden weapon from his arsenal: In a remarkable turn of events, Son orchestrated the public offering of ARM in 2024, catapulting the company's value to an astounding $100 billion. This strategic move not only tripled the value of his investment, but also served as a pivotal moment in regaining losses incurred through ventures like WeWork. As we reflect on his journey, one thing is certain: his indomitable spirit and relentless gamble will continue to shape the course of the future. And while the future remains unknown, Masayoshi Son always seems to have a way to influence it. But hey, while we can't control the future, we can definitely control whether we click subscribe. So why wait? Hit that subscribe button now and join us for more thrilling tales of innovation and success.